Hello everyone, it's Roxas, back with more Ensemble stars, and yeah, I'm gonna make another guide, and I actually have notes written down for this one, so hopefully my thoughts can be a little more organized this time. Truthfully, I did kind of slow down with this game for a long time. I didn't stop playing it, but now I'm making these guides, and I'm feeling a lot better about it again, and really, I just want other people to hopefully love this game as much as I do and find the enjoyment of it as much as I do, even if it's stressful. So this time I'm going to make a guide about how to do well, or at least optimize how well you do in events as free to play. My last event guide, not only did I leave out a lot of points I should have talked about, in hindsight I have those jotted down now, but it was mostly me being like, oh yeah, so you throw more die at it and it does this. And that's normally not how I do events at all. That was pretty special, and that was just showing how to play an event in the first place, not really how to do well in it without spending very much. I should reiterate, I am not really pay to play for this game. I have spent money on a couple boxes, only 2. And that's just because I wanted the 5 stars out of them, and I didn't get either 5-star. But yeah, putting money into this game is not something I regularly do, and it's not something I've ever done for an event. I hardly ever spend die on events in the first place. I think I only did it for that one, really. And then for another circumstance, but I'll get to that later. For the point is, I'm gonna try and show you how to do your best without funneling ideally any dia into an event. And yes, that's going to hinder a lot of things you can do in it, but it's also a good way to just see how far you can go and get used to your teams if you're just starting, or if your teams aren't very good and you're still building up. And it'll still be a good way to help you grow and build on your teams. So on the subject of teams, I'm gonna go down here to this one on the end. Here they be. These are your event teams. I've talked in my last video, but you're going to get a lot of cards for this in the beginning from that points box I talked about earlier, and from playing events themselves. Each event gives you a 3-star of each stat, and they're very viable, and if you play events super, not super, just if you stay on top of them as best you can, you'll get a whole bunch of copies of these event 3-stars to use, and they're very, very nice and powerful. I still have a ton of them on a lot of my teams, like my P4 team is my weakest team right now. This Ritsu in the top row here, this is an event 3-star, 24. That's better than most of the 4-stars I have on here. That's how good they are. So again, I said this in my last video, if you really do want to do well events, make sure you get those 3-stars, pay attention to them, put the gems into them to get their stats up, and while you're playing events, since you're going to be playing a lot of courses, put them on your teams, level them up, max them out. It'll only help you, I promise. And something I wanted to talk about the free box again, not that one, definitely not this one. See this box? I'm going to remind you all, this box, bad. Ignore this box, it doesn't exist, leave it alone. This box is the one you want. I know it says the 1 in the 10 pull. Do not feel the need to save for a 10 pull, you get nothing guaranteed, and it's actually not as helpful as just soloing them off. So the second you hit 10,000, just hit that button right there, hope for a 4-star, you'll probably get a 3-star, that's totally okay, that's totally normal. I've been playing this game since June, it is January now. I've gotten 2 4-stars out of this box, I just got one the other night, thank you, okay? But yeah, this is where you get all your 3-stars, and the thing about doing the solo as opposed to the 10, because, how do I phrase this? If you just solo it, you just have one new thing to work with, and to level up, and to put gems into. If you do the 10, you're gonna have 10 new things to level up and work with all at once, and that's a lot harder. Oh, not that box. So yeah, just solo them off, and do them gradually. It'll really be less stressful and pace you out, and your materials out better. Right, so there's that. What's next on my little list? Yeah, let's get into the actual event courses themselves. Here it is. I have not spent a single dia on this event. This is the second night of the event. Events for me, I am on a Pacific time. They start at 10 at night for me, and it is 10 at night the next day after starting currently. So yeah, 24 hours, this is my rank. It's not a very busy event. No dia. I have almost 77,000, not one dia spent, okay? It's doable, I promise. Again, you have all your lovely, wonderful, helpful rewards, all those stories or dia, LP refills, producer points, dia, cards, all sorts of wonderful stuff. This is not hard to get. This is the first day of the event. Events are 10 days. I already have all this stuff. You'll have all this stuff to work with too. Especially those 3 stars. Right? As far as event courses go, here they be. I did kind of want to wait until the second half of this event unlocked, because more stuff does unlock down the line for the last 5 days of the event. But I knew I'd forget about it if I try to make the video then, so I'm doing it now. When the second half of these courses unlock, you'll get 2 new courses, which is another 6 dia per course. That's 12 more dia for you. But it also adds a 3rd rare live, sorry hiccup, that you can do. Do not do that rare live. Yes, I know it's a rare live, but the thing is, by the point that happens, your other 2 rare lives that the event starts you out on, those will already be as maxed out as you can get them by that point. If you can have them completely maxed out, that's good. If not, then that's just you trying your best. You can't really help that. But don't start on that 3rd live, that 3rd card, because it's not going to give you enough points at that point. At that point, you're already making as much as you can. If you start a whole new one, your points are going to really plateau, and you're not going to get a whole lot, and your growth is going to slow. And if you're trying for a 4-star or even the 5-star, it's going to be a colossal waste of LP. So I know that 3rd card is going to come up, and it's going to be a rare live. Don't do it. You're just going to waste time. You're just going to waste LP, and you're going to slow down, and trust me, every LP counts when you're trying for events, especially if you're free to play and can't just throw more dia at it to keep going. So for the courses themselves, there's the 10 and the 20. Once you have all the goals and little friendship quests maxed out for the dia on them, I like to do the 20. I find that spawns rare lives more often. I said this in my other event video. Do not ever play the normal live. The rare live will have a little yellow sticker. If you don't see that, don't play it. Because the normal lives, as easy as they are to complete, especially if you're just starting, they give you nothing. They give you no points to work with. You will go absolutely nowhere in events. Don't touch them, don't think about them, even if you just have 1 LP left over and maybe you're gonna put down the game for a while, don't. It is absolutely not worth it. Just save it for another rare live. So I'm gonna get into it. I already have all the quests maxed out on this event. This is what it looks like. Let's see where to start. First, normally you've been playing courses by this point. You know the boys ping you and try to get friendship from you. And event courses, they don't ping you. The only one that's going to ping you is the guest boy. It's Yuzuru in this one. And he won't ask you any 1-star quests, which are the general friendship quests that boost your fever normally in courses for event boys. He's only going to ask you the 2 story quests that will get you dia from this event, for example. Let me pull it up. Those are the goals. This one is, the top one is hit fever twice. The middle goal is gather 150 blues in 10 turns. And the last one is get 250 yellow shards. That one was pretty hard, and for ones like that, you're gonna, chances are you're going to have to replay a few times and just hope the RNG gives you enough. But here are the quests, just like in courses. Max those both out, 2 more dia for you. After that, there's just no point in pinging him anymore. So we'll just boop around and see if we can spawn a rare live. Alright, see this one? No yellow sticker. This is the unbloomed art. This is a normal live. It is dead to you. Skip it. Oh, well, I pinged Yuzuru anyway. This is actually why I have my perform team out for this. Okay, never mind. I'll get back to that in a second. here's a rare live, everyone. That big yellow sticker, this, all sparkly. This is what you're looking for, this is what you want. So let's hit that blue button. So here are your teams, you're gonna have all your cards here. These max out at 3 LP if you... I mean, the ideal is to have 3 LP to play these maxed out at some point, just as your cards get better. So if I were to spend 3 LP right now, I would super overkill it. At max level, level 30, this Kato is going to have 500,000 HP, I guess? I'm gonna call it HP. 500,000 HP. Yeah, almost 800. This is super overkill because this game loves giving me dance cards. If you, at any point, especially if you're first starting, if you take more than 3 LP to beat it, say you take 4, maybe 5, depending on how your rollover is, it will knock it back down a level so you can beat it in 3 again. And it'll just keep doing that until you can level it up and eventually get it to level 30 where it doesn't have to knock you back anymore. But this one, I only need 2. 1 doesn't quite cut it, unfortunately. So I'm going to use 2 teams. See that multiplier on the side? So, yeah, if you use your second team, not just your first team, you get points and a half, whatever those stats are. Use all 3 teams, and all 3 of your teams are doubled. So if you're... I'll go back to that screen in a bit. You want all 3 of your teams to be at about 300,000. That's gonna be your standard, I guess, for doing events. If you're at 300,000, you're good to go. Maybe like 294, something close to that would be good too. But just try to get it as close to 300,000. You can do it with 3 stars and the occasional 4-star you get from events or gacha. Let's not dawdle anymore. Let's use this Kato. Now, if you do this, if you actually tap it, it'll just play a bunch of animations and it'll just make the bar slowly go up. You don't have to sit through that, just hit skip. And done. See, now I got some points for that. And this is what I'm talking about. If you start that 3rd card that's going to spawn in this case it's a Hajime, if you start that rare live, it's going to give you like just 100 or so points when you first start. And this scales and gives you a lot more. These will end up giving you anywhere from 6 to 7,400, or 6,000 to 7,400, about that ballpark, once you start beating them at level 30. Oh, and I got another reward for that, so claim your reward, just go to the event thingy, the thingy, yeah, this thingy, hit this button, and there you go, that's it. Now I have that Kato front in my present box. Let's see if I can go back and do any more. Quick thing. So I talked about the goals for a second. It wants 250 yellow, that's in just all turns in general. What you would do is try to throw as many perform yellow cards onto one team as you can, and spam this point over and over again. This is how you get all those yellow shards. Having cards that match gives you bonus shards, so that's why you want to try and throw all your yellows on there. Even if you're just starting and have a bunch of 1-stars, I think that works too. And again, it might be kind of hard and it might depend on how many cards you have. Or, I mean, on the point. Sometimes it'll put 1 on there, sometimes it'll put 4 on there. It's just up to RNG liking you. Alright, no sticker, no good. Skip this. Another little gameplay pointer I don't think I've ever talked about. If you're trying to build Fever, which I know a lot of quests say, like hit Fever within the first 5 turns or hit Fever twice, something to that extent. To fill Fever really fast, a lot of people say hit an empty classroom and talk to Akiyomi sensei. I don't do that because I don't know a lot of his answers, honestly. I haven't figured a lot of them out. I'm sure you can look them up, but I just don't bother with it. The fastest way I've found, which is also a lot more productive because you get shards and gems from doing it, find a room with just 1 kid. If you just do the 1, it'll make it go up the most. Okay, another Kato, so let's play that. Alright, can still do it in 2. At this point, my LP is all out. If you want to refill it, you'll either have to use an item, diamonds, weight, or level up. Ooh, Encore. This is really good, especially as free-to-play. This is a good way to get free points. The 5 cards on your best team will, like, you have to bring them all on stage, and it's a timing thing. Here, I'll just show you. This is just practice, but it's just free points, which is always nice. Ooh, I get the bouquet this time too. This one's hard. So this right here means it's trying to offer you a bouquet, and that is how many kids you need to get onto the stage to get that bouquet. So I have to do perfect to get the bouquet, which is another 1,000 points. Let's see if I can do it. Probably not, although I have been on point all day. Yes! Nice! I did it! Okay. So you get whatever points I got for that, plus... boom! Another 1,000. Alright, look at that! Another 5,000 points. I am just rolling right along. This is very nice. Alright, ooh, I got a medium off of that. Thank you, Kanata. So yeah, I'm just trying to build my fever best I can right now. Because I like starting off with high fever, especially for the things, or the quests, I guess, are like, get 100 blues in 10 turns. It really helps starting off in fever. Thank you, Nazuna. So you can just get that all done right away. Alright, fever again. And for the quests that say hit fever twice, you can't start in fever. You have to have your fever bar right before, then hit it, and then try to sprint to fever as fast as you can again after that. Starting off in fever doesn't cut it. It's annoying. Last thing I want to talk about courses themselves. This room at the end here. This is Sagami Sensei's room. This boosts your luck, if you answer it correctly. There's no wrong answer. Your luck cannot go down. But there's 2 options that'll raise it by a half stage and 1 that'll raise it by a full stage, which will give you the highest luck. A lot of quests do ask for that. This is how you do it. I know that the middle option in this set, he asks you a bunch, well, there's a bunch of different responses. But for this set, this one in the middle is the correct answer. Now my luck already started at half luck. But normally, even if you just had normal luck, that would have put you to the high luck. And no, half luck does not count as high luck for quests. It has to be the super high, nice pink arrow for luck. This one up here. Finish that up. So yeah, as you get event 3 stars, since you're going to be playing these courses a lot, just slap those 3 stars onto your teams like I'm doing with this Mitsuru here. It's a really good way to level them up because you're playing a lot anyway. Right, and go over here, get that Kato I got earlier. So now I have another copy of him, which raises his level cap for more stats. It adds more stats on his idle road you can unlock. Let's see. Looking at my little guide I wrote for myself over here. Spending Dia for events. Excuse me, another hiccup. Even if you're not pay to play, you can still spend Dia on events to help get ahead. That's just a matter of saving up and knowing what you want to spend your Dia on. Let me reference Love Live for a second here, because I know a lot of people who play on Stars usually came off of Love Live. If you've tried to tier for a Love Live event, you normally, you know how that goes. You typically come out with a net positive of gems still. You don't usually end up spending more than you make within the event. I tier 1'd for Fairy Nozomi, for example, way back then, and I came out with a net positive after a T1. It's not so here, and I know a lot of people are kind of upset about that, but events are much more central to this game than they are to Love Live, and they reward much better. Not only do you get all this stuff, all the Dia and stories and gems and cards and stuff, Love Live has 1 SR, maybe 2 SRs you can points in tier 4, and they're never as good as normal SRs, which is something that's always irked me. They're nowhere near as powerful. In OnStars, you have not 1 4-star, not 2 4-stars, but 2 4-stars and 2 5-stars up for grabs every single event. And they're no worse than gacha 4 and 5 stars, and often they're better. So it's a lot more worth it to spend Dia on these and try to get them, because you can see them. It's not RNG, you know you can sprint for them if you just put the time and maybe, if it needs it, the Dia into it. So yeah, if you want cards, don't do it just because like they're pretty and you feel bad about wasting them because they're not as good. No, they will really help if you do want to invest for them. And the other thing is, maybe an event comes along, maybe you just spent for a gacha you really want, maybe you just came off an event you wanted, maybe a points card, or even a tier card for. Let's say another one snuck up on you, and now you don't have the Dia for it. Well, you're free to play. Are you just, you know, out of luck? For a while, yes, but there are revival events. Revival events, they cost 15 Dia to start, which isn't too much, but it's still eh. That's a solo pull, for example. But they are always available. You can start them in the 5 days between events. Between event, there's 5 days grace period, basically, where you can kind of calm down and, you know, not hate this game for a few days. But so let's say you missed an event like that. Eventually, it's going to come back here. And you can save for that, and you can play for it. Revival events, the way they work is they have everything that was available in the original play of this event, but it's just points. You don't have to rank against anyone, you don't have to worry about that. You do get 5 extra days for these. I believe they're 15 days long instead of just 10 days. But it also means that the ranking 4 and 5 star are going to be worth a lot more. I haven't actually played one of these myself, so I can't give you a scope of reference. It's just not something I've saved for yet. But I have looked up some of the new revival point rewards on the wiki. The wiki is a wonderful, wonderful place. The translators work very hard and get all this stuff up. And it's just a wonderful reference place. Please utilize the wiki. But I know that typically most of the tier 5 stars? Yeah, tier 5 stars, even with the 5 extra days, they're worth 4 million points. It's a lot of points, and it does mean you're going to have to absolutely spend no small amount of Dia to try and get them. If you stay super on top of normal events, for example, if you stay super on top of your LP and spend maybe under 100, maybe even under 50 Dia, you can get the points 5-star, which is 1,100,000 points. That's a quarter of what a tier 5-star is worth in revival events. So personally, if you wanted my advice, this is what I'm going to try and go for when Marionette Nazuna comes back. I'm not going in there with anything fewer than 400 Dia, just to be safe, and even then I'm still wholly expecting to have to spend more. But the thing about this is, yeah, it's a lot, but these are always here. These don't go away, these don't cycle out, these are just here whenever you are ready to play them. And unlike normal events, you only get 1 copy of each card. These are very much just for people who missed an event or missed a copy of a card they wanted. Maybe they were pushed out of a tiering, for example. So you only get 1 copy of each, and if you already have one of the cards, let's say, let's think of an example. I first started this game during Kuro's Kabuki event back in June. I got all the 3 stars for that, but I didn't get any of the 4 or 5 stars. So if I went back and played that, I wouldn't be able to get the 3 stars. I'd just be able to grind and grind and grind until I got the 4 and 5 stars, if I ever wanted to go back. And I might, because that Kato 4-star was really pretty. But, yeah. If you were to budget for this, if this is something you want to do, don't stress about time for these ones because you can save up as long as you want to dive in with them. My advice to you, I would not go in with anything fewer than 400 dia just to be safe. And I think maybe for some events, maybe some of the more popular events, I think they might go even higher. Something crazy expensive like Starfest, Arashi, for example. God, there was this event a couple months ago, it was the first half of December, I think, where Arashi was the tiering 4-star for the first time since like launch. I mean, I think the last time she was a tiering 5-star was like one of the first few events. But it was madness. It was terrifying. Oh my goodness, that's the scariest event. I'm so glad I didn't even try to tier for her because it would have just been such a waste. It was such a competitive event. I don't even want to think about how many dia was sunk into that event. I would guess anywhere between 600 and 800, maybe more. That's a lot. Yeah, it's super terrifying, but that's what happens sometimes, I guess. So, ooh. Yeah, that was a scary event. And I'm really sad because Arashi is one of my best kids too. I love her so much. So sad. I didn't even have a chance. Oh well. But yeah, the long and short of all that was, if you miss an event for any reason, if you didn't have the die, if you didn't have the time, or even if you didn't have the luck and were pushed out of a tiering bracket at the last second, you can go back and do it. It's just gonna take a while because it's super playing catch up. But it'll come back, don't worry. What else did I want to talk about? Let's go back here for a second. Let's actually talk about the cards you get from these. You're saying, okay, well now I hear you, I get all that, well now I know how to optimize. What am I really in here for? Well, let's look at your rewards. See, I'm up here right now. This is day 1. And you'll notice, yeah, it takes a while longer to get rewards, here, 660,000. There's your points 4-star, right there for you. Last event, I didn't pay, like, super strict attention to my LP. I tried to play just as often as I could while I was awake. Didn't spend a single die on the last event, and I got the points 4-star with still a couple days to go. So once your teams are doing pretty alright, especially if all of them hit 300,000 total, it's not very difficult to get the points 4-star. Just as long as you pay attention to the game, stay as on top of your LP as best you can. The points 4-star is something you can get from very casual, sort of attentive play without losing sleep. The 5-star, on the other hand, if we go up here, it's going to take a little bit more effort. It'll take any combination of losing sleep, waking up every, hour and a half or so to throw more LP at lives, throwing dia at it. I usually spend anywhere from 30 to 50 dia just to cover the difference of not being super on top of my LP in order to get the points 5-stars, which I'm okay with. It's a decision you make. But where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, how much dia you have to throw at a points 5-star really depends on how on top of your LP you are. If you can be super on top of your LP, and if you, I guess, don't sleep very much, I end up staying pretty late usually. Just normal as a human being. But, I mean, the more on top of your LP you are, the less dia you have to spend for it. Typically, as long as you're good during the day and maybe stay up kind of late, but as long as you're getting your LP and as you're leveling up and, all that, you'll typically not have to spend any more than 100 dia to get the points 5-star. Probably, if you're super good about it, no more than 50. And again, it's something worth spending dia for. How do I say it? I'm trying to organize a thought, but it's kind of hard. If you want... Okay. If you are getting the 4-star, that's very good. Event 4-stars are they're relatively easy to get, especially without spending dia like I just did. If you get them, that's even better padding for your teams, and that'll help growing your teams go a lot faster, so you can be even better for the next event and the event after that, for example. If you want the points 5-star, they are fantastic. Fantastic for growing your teams. They're absolutely wonderful. They're super useful. They're super strong. I mean, it's a 5-star that, I mean, I just sunk like 500 Dia into a gacha and didn't get a 5-star. If you only have to spend 50 Dia and get a 5-star, that's absolutely worth it. But if you are doing, if you are trying super hard to save and be free to play on an event, or maybe you have a couple 5-stars and don't feel like you need any more, maybe even for this stat, which, I mean, you could always use more 5-stars, but what I'm trying to say is if you're not really invested in this 5-star, if you don't really like it, you don't have to get it just because its stats are better. Just go for points 5-stars you really, really like. Like, that's what I did. Or even if I was just spending Dia on an event for, like, in the first place, I would just say, well, why not? I've already spent Dia, and then went for the 5-star. That's what I did for, one of the summer events. Arashi was the points 4-star, and I threw some Dia at it to make sure I get her. And, at that point I thought, well, I might as well keep going, and even though the 5-star was Izumi, who is not my favorite, I'm trying really hard to be nicer and like him more, but especially at the time, he really wasn't my favorite. I still got him anyway, just because I'd already throw some Dia at this event. And yeah, it's really up to you, but it's never a bad idea to spare maybe 50 Dia every once in a while for a 5-star, because they'll really, really help, and they're really, really pretty. I mean, Tori, another not one of my favorites, and not one I'm going to spend Dia for, but, you know, it still wouldn't be bad to have him. Whew. Let me take a breath real quick. Whew. Alright, everyone, take a deep breath, drink your water. Okay, ranking, tiering. This is a whole nother ball game. If you're going in an event trying to tier, it's almost going to be like you're playing an entirely different game. Let's look at the tier cutoffs. Please, game, if you load. Yeah. If you want a 5-star, that is generally the bar set for it. This is actually a little bit kinder than I've seen, actually. Top 11 for, one copy of the 5-star. It's normally top 8,000, but I don't know. I haven't really paid attention to tiering. I've only ever tiered for 4 stars. And the cutoff for the 4-star is 35. That's a little more normal. So you really have to stay on top of your ranking. My rank right now is this orange one up here. It's only that good because this is not a busy event. Fina is not a very popular unit typically, especially since the tier is HE. Oh, poor HE, but oh, HE. But normally I'm probably gonna end up anywhere between the 30,000s and the 50,000s for a more popular event, especially if it's Knights, Undead, Switch. God forbid, I'm so scared for the first Switch tier event. But you're going to have to throw Dia if you want to tier. I'm telling this to you now so you can brace yourself. You're going to have to throw no small amount of Dia for a tier card. If it's for a 4-star, it's not as bad, and that can mostly be circumvented by staying on top of your LP during the day. That's how I tier for my first 4-star. I still had to throw some Dia at it, yeah, but not as much as I could have because I watched my LP so carefully. You're going to have to do that. You're going to have to lose sleep. I'm telling you that right now. So, yeah. For a 4-star, really depends on how busy the event is. You're going to have to watch it as it goes. You really will. I'm telling you, you have to watch your ranking and know what you have to throw at it to make it work. I did not, for the first one I spent maybe 60 Dia. It was between 60 to 100, I can't remember off the top of my head, but 60 to 100 got me one copy of the tier 4-star. And that was for a not so bad event, a not so bad tier 4-star, it's gonna go up the more popular event is and you'll know when it is. For a 5-star, I have heard anywhere from 300 Daya to, again, I would not be surprised if it cost 800 to get one copy of that night Starfest Arashi. It really just depends, and it's really something you have to watch out for. But yeah, I've never tiered for a 5-star as an event was live. If you were, let's say, you know, if you're free to play, if you don't have a lot of Daya, if you're not willing to throw 300 Daya at the game and then not end up getting it, or, you know, if you can't spend money to cover the difference and get more Daya, I wouldn't stress too much about it. I would probably just save your Daya and wait for the revival. That way you could probably even at that point look up and see how many revival points it'll take to get your 5-star, and you could budget accordingly then. But yeah, just, I'm telling you, it's gonna be hard to get that tier 5-star. And like that Starfest Arashi, where's my candlelight vigil? There are some that are gonna go by and there's really not anything you can do about it as free to play. Even as, I mean, pay to play, even if you spend some money on events, if you're willing to throw a little bit at it, there's no way you could have spent like a small amount of money to ensure that you got that Arashi. It's ridiculous, and it does get ridiculous. So yeah, tiering is free to play. It's typically not something that's going to happen during a live event, like this one here. Unless you're super diligent about saving your Daya and maybe you went in with 400, I mean, good for you. You actually saved Daya. But yeah, if you're free to play and you really want a tier 5-star, wait for that revival event to come around. It's gonna take forever for it to come back, but I mean, at that point, you'll probably be able to save up a lot. I probably would have been able to save for Marionette Nazuna at this point if I hadn't been, you know, spending on like the New Year's campaign they had, or the Itsuki 5-star and the gacha a little while back. Yeah, just know where you want your Daya to go, basically. That's totally under your control. And I guess the last point I'll hit is the one I hit in my other video. But if you are trying super hard in an event, especially if you're just starting, maybe it's not the best idea to throw a Daya at the event itself per se. I wouldn't do that personally if you're just starting the game or if you're maybe 1 or 2 events in, because you're going to end up wasting a lot more Daya than you should have. Instead, what I do is maybe do a 10 pull in the event gacha, which is this one here, this Ice Dancing Izumi, which is very pretty. But this is what I ended up doing for my, like my 3rd event, and it really helped. But also, it was a gacha I really wanted. It was it was the first one the 5-star didn't come home for. Haha. There's a different event gacha for each event. It's a different set of cards. It's 1 5-star, 1 4-star, and 2 3-stars, and they all have boosted rates. This Izumi is the only 5-star in here, so if you pull a 5-star, it's going to be him. The 4-star for this box, for example, is Kaoru, and it will have a 50% chance of being him. Normally, it's pretty fair, but for whatever reason, in the Itsuki gacha, it was Kuro that was the 4-star. 50% chance was not real because I did 4 10 pulls and several solos. I got maybe 8 or 9 4-stars. None of them were Kuro. Not one of them were the gacha Kuro. So yeah, RNG is just weird sometimes, but you will get a lot of copies of the 3-stars, so you can stack those up because those rates are boosted too. Why is this important? Well, gacha cards, the Izumi, the Kaoru, and the 3-stars, they will have doubled stats for the duration of the event. They won't for any other, they won't for the revival event, but they will for this event right now with the HE and all that. It's really, really good if you have the Daya to throw at it, and if you want to try maybe a little harder and maybe try and get a points 4-star or a points 5-star for that event, because these double rates will really super help you go even further. You won't get stuck on lives as bad. Maybe like if you were having trouble getting to a certain level before and had to do 4 LP, these will help you go even further, especially if you level them up. If your teams are pretty okay established, I wouldn't pull in these unless you wanted the cards in them specifically. I wouldn't advise doing that like at all. Honestly, like if you really aren't crazy about any of these cards, even if you wanted to do well in the current event, I wouldn't throw the 135 Dia at it. But again, it's all up to you. It is a strategy at your disposal. It is a good one that really helped me with that one event that I did it for, the first one. But your Dia is your Dia, and you can spend that wherever you want. I just would suggest, if you are starting this game, or if you're like 1 or 2 events and your cards aren't very good, I wouldn't throw Dia at an event just yet, even if you wanted to, because your cards just won't be good enough to take you very far, and you're going to throw a lot more Dia and waste a lot more Dia than you really should, and it's going to be a bad feeling, and you're going to feel bad, and I just wouldn't. Alright? Yeah, looking down my list, I think I hit everything. I don't think I left anything out. I think I had all the tips left in there I wanted to hit. But yeah, I really hope this helped maybe optimize how to get through events as free-to-play and made them seem a little more doable. I really, wanted to do that, especially after my last free-to-play video. A lot of people had said that it really helped them. And I have a friend who I already gave all this event advice to because she's playing this event for the first time after like picking this game up again. And she says it's all really helped her. And I just want people to get the same enjoyment out of this game that I get. Because even if I don't, throw too much money at it, or when I do, it doesn't reward me, I still have fun playing it. And I still have fun doing events and getting these cards. I mean, I only pulled 2 boxes and didn't get the 5 stars out of them. But look at all this stuff I have anyway, guys. This is almost all of these are just from playing events. Like that Nazuna's gacha and that Leo's gacha. The rest of these are all just points 5 stars. That's a points 4 star, gacha. Some gacha. I mean, this was the points 4 star I really went all out for. I mean, you don't need to tier, and you don't need to whale in boxes to get all this cool stuff. You just have to give the game the time, and maybe just a couple of Dia you save up. I mean, worst case. You can still have a lot of cool stuff and not top tier every single event. I'm actually like kind of happy. I mean, look at how far I've come, guys. Me, just one little like basically free to play. I really don't count me spending for those boxes as pay to play because they haven't really made a difference gameplay wise. Ay caramba. But yeah, I mean, just look at all this stuff you can get. And of course, apart from the game itself, there's the wiki where a lot of the stories are translated. Not all of them, but a lot of them. They're just fan translators that work so hard to get these out and to get these out fast. They are incredible, and I love them. But yeah, there's all that character you can get into, all the story, all these pretty cards. There is a story behind each card, and it's just, it's a really nice game with really nice characters and really nice designs. It's one of those games where I look at it and I thought, wow, I wish I designed some of these. Oh, well, my connection isn't happy for some reason. There we go. But yeah, in the end, I really hope this made events a little less intimidating for you if you're free to play, if you can't spend a lot, if you can't whale especially. If you can't do a lot of gacha pulls, just doing events on the cheap, I guess. I really hope this made it a little less scary, a little less intimidating, and gave you some hope to be able to do it, because you can. I promise, I could do it right now if I went all out for it. I can already see myself on track for the Wataru, no problem. I mean, the third event I ever played, I got both the points 4-star and 5-star. Third event I ever played. You can do it. You can absolutely do it. If you just give the game the time, if you just budget your dia, and if you just, you know, play courses, that's really important too. If you can just kind of numbly play a course with one hand while you're like doing homework or watching a movie or something, you know, that'll help give you producer points to pad your teams, that'll level you up, that'll get you gems, and it'll, when you level up, you refill AP and LP. That's doubly helpful for events where you're using a lot of those things. You can do it, I promise. Events aren't that scary after the first couple, once you get some cards and once you get a feel for them. You absolutely can do it, and I believe in you. So, good luck, maybe with this event, maybe with the next event, maybe for an event you're saving for. You know, whenever it drops by. I know you can do it when it comes. And, well, but, yeah. I wish I had a more, exciting send-off to that, but really, truly, I know you can do it because I can, and I can't ever do, like, anything in games. So, just good luck, and be diligent, and be patient, and keep building on yourself. Good night.